Oxygen Not Included has some of the most brilliant game design I've seen in the industry. Today, we're gonna talk about it. Game loops are the core of a game, and they help define a genre. Oxygen Not Included's game loop is very unique and it is extremely addicting, but why is that? Well, in order to understand the game loop, we gotta draw it out from the beginning. So what do we encounter in the beginning as a player? The player has to get food, make bathrooms, and a whole nother variety of problems, like getting power for research. This can all be summarized into one thing, a problem. When solving this problem, you tend to think of multiple possible solutions and then assess the viability of these solutions. After that, solutions are compared to find a final solution which you will then implement, or if all solutions are not viable, then it's back to the drawing board. During the implementation of a solution, there are many conditionals that could hinder your progress. If you need resources, if a duplicate can't get to that position, if a byproduct is produced, if maintenance is required, all of those lead back to a problem, leading you to the very top of the loop. This leads to the game loop playing multiple times during the same scenario, leading to a scenario where the game never feels like there's a stopping point, leading to very addictive gameplay and gameplay where there's always something to try to find a solution for. And this isn't even mentioning that the entire process will repeat itself for every completely new problem that you face. Like if you want to build rockets, you gotta do this whole loop nested again with multiple different solutions and problems running at the same time. So many things going on, the game almost never feels boring. It's extremely important to mention what makes Oxygen Not Included different. Why should you be playing Oxygen Not Included instead of other games? Well, not only the art style of Oxygen Not Included is unique, the type of genres it combines is extremely unique. Having a game loop which aligns with automation and engineering combined with a colony simulation leads to a very different experience from other titles in these genres. Having to take care of colony members only supports the game loop as it provides way more problems such as managing hunger and oxygen, which most games haven't even thought of managing oxygen, one of this game's biggest gimmicks, and it's in its title, but I think this gimmick provides a lot of value for the game as it deals with gas management, which most games don't have at all. How exactly does the game keep the player on the content path? And how does this content path change the game, and what does it unlock for the player? The game keeps the player on the content path very subtly, and it makes the game more addicting by not showing when something ends and starts, so it helps with the gameplay loop. The content path is mainly enforced by having the duplicate's life on the line. But one may ask, how is this subtle? Well, Oxygen Not Included decides to put duplicate's life on the line very slowly usually, and only in the last moment you start to recognize your mistake. This leads to the player carefully thinking out possible problems in the future with their design, leading back to the problem game loop as they try to figure out what potential things they could solve for the future. And back to the main topic, the main reason this enforces the content path is because most solutions to this problem require making a new machine which has new problems, an entirely new loop, and these new machines usually you gotta research, and it's the next part of the game's progression. The placement of where the content path starts to be followed is extremely interesting as it's in an intermediate part of the game loop. Usually the content path starts to be followed at the end of the game loop, but because the content is accessed to solve solutions to problems which you are already trying to solve, it means that it enters in the middle of the game loop, which means it is extremely seamless and almost unnoticeable when following this path, leading to more addictive gameplay, higher engagement, and overall just a better time. When you look at so many other games, they inject new content right at the end of a game loop, and it's so easy to quit at the end of a game loop or take a break. I mean, take for example almost any level-based game, which injects new content after the end of the level, and at the end of the level is right at the end of a game loop. Replayability is something Oxygen Not Included does very well, with the whole part of the game being based off of possible solutions and there being many possible solutions using simple tools. It can feel like the game never runs out of content. But not only can the designs of machines be vastly different to make different parts of the game have different requirements which go back to the game loop, but different parts of the game loop, and it's completely unique to the player's experience every time they play the game. Sometimes when you watch someone play the game, they have completely different problems than other players. Not only that, but the game settings allow for completely different planets having different problems, completely fresh game loops, and it is truly astounding how much replayability this game has. And when I mean different game loops here, I mean the same game loop, but a different problem in the beginning, making it feel completely different. Oxygen Not Included blends every single one of these factors beautifully, and more factors which I haven't discussed, to make a game with incredible game design, and in my opinion this is one of the best out there. Let me know what you think in the comments, and make sure to pick this game up if you haven't. Smash like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.